You're listening to Alaska Real Estate. I'm Chris Story, your host for great adventures in the last frontier. Today, Alaskan Realtors are in the national spotlight. You'll hear from Scott Connelly, Ross Baxter, Kelly Griebel, and Jenny Chissus. What was it like to star in Buying Alaska, and will they remember you when they're famous? Find out right here on Alaska Real Estate. Alaska USA Title Company is a proud sponsor of this podcast. With offices serving all of Alaska, AK USA Title Agency understands your client's needs, and time is of the essence. Alaska USA Title Agency, online at alaskausatitle.com. And Alaska Housing Finance Corporation. From low-interest mortgages to energy efficiency rebates, AHFC is your Alaska real estate partner. And how about Matt and Jen? AHFC's promoting you and real estate all over Alaska. AHFC.us.
Where we live, we got clear blue skies. Where we live, we got tall oak trees. Where we live, we're the only ones who live.
Scott Connelly, so how did you get involved with Buying Alaska? What was the first connection you had with them?
Through my broker, Deborah Lysick. She had been contacted by them, and it kind of seems like they just sort of were Googling and kind of searching around looking for brokers to contact about this when they first got started. And they contacted Deborah, and she thought, since I'm the type of realtor that kind of gets out there into the wilderness a little bit more than some, that I'd be a good fit for them.
And so they're not working necessarily for Discovery Channel, but the production is being produced for Discovery, and it's been picked up and will air starting, I think this it'd be the 21st. So if you're listening to the podcast, it would have been yesterday. But nevertheless, you've got an episode coming out on the 28th. We'll talk about taking direction, though. What was it like to be told how to do your job when you do it anyway? Because on camera, it's going to look different than what you would just naturally do. What was that like?
Well, it actually wasn't that different, except for the repetition, and that's true for most times anybody's filming anything. You end up doing it over and over again. And just to get different takes and just to make sure that you get the right facial expression or whatever, they just for redundancy. And so it actually was pretty easy for me because I just did what I do when I'm actually selling property to folks. They make suggestions about things to say because they kind of had a concept for what the gist of the storyline is going to be as far as what they're actually trying to do is create some drama and some tension about these people making a decision. Should we buy this house because it has this feature, or should we buy this house because it's got this view and doesn't have this other feature? So I think they're really going to play up on that. I mean, I haven't seen the final product yet, but I think they're going to try and create this decision-making tension. So they'd ask me to word things a little bit differently and say things like, well, I know that this house doesn't have a fish cleaning table, but boy, it sure has a nice view. And it was, everything was true, but they wanted to emphasize the differences between the houses that the buyers were looking at.
They had a particular direction they wanted to see it go for purposes of television. I mean, they're making television, and without drama or without some hook, who's going to watch it?
Exactly. It'd be boring. I mean, I think real estate is exciting enough as it is, and there's enough drama inherently in it, but they need something kind of canned that they can edit and create going into the filming that they know at the final edit they'll be able to create some tension. So.
And you've mentioned it a couple times, the final edit. You've not seen it. You, in essence, Scott Connelly, have given over all control. I mean, you don't know which scenes they're going to use. You have no control over what they put out on national television.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they're not going to make me look silly.
Who's the star? Do you think Alaska is the star of this television show? Is it real estate? Is it realtors? Who's the star?
I'm thinking that they're highlighting Alaska. I mean, Alaska is what makes it interesting, but the buyers are the stars, because I think what we're going to see is the realtors are actually going to be a pretty small part of this. They're going to have us, clips of us saying, this doesn't have a cleaning table. This one does have a cleaning table. This house is not as big as you wanted. This house doesn't have enough bedrooms, and it's going to be primarily the buyers talking about the process that they're going through, weighing those differences. So I think the buyers are going to have all the airtime. I don't think the realtors are going to have a lot of airtime, actually.
What is it that Alaska holds that has captured the imagination of the country?
A lot of it has to do with freedom. People think that, and rightfully so, that we're not. It's not as ridiculous up here as it is down south with building codes and building regulations and people telling you what kind of car you have to drive and you can't cut a tree down in your yard because the city council says you can't. And that up here in Alaska, it's kind of like a person can be free to be who they want to be. And I think that's the fascination. In addition to the killer scenery and the killer wildlife.
Did you have fun doing this?
Oh, it was a blast, absolute blast. Yeah, and that's primarily because it's just kind of cool. And also just because the production crew, I mean, just a great bunch of people, and just funny, and yeah, wonderful to work with.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see it on October 28th. Scott Connelly of Homer, Alaska with Bay Realty will be the star. I'm saying you're the star. I know you're being nice and saying it's
You're always a star in my book, Chris.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Okay, take care.
We got clear blue skies where we live. We got
Ross Baxter, Freedom Realty in Soldotna. Now, talk to me about Buying Alaska. How'd you get involved, and what was the experience like for you?
There was a request from the executive producers to a local builder who happened to be my brother. Doug Baxter owns Batir Construction. When Doug told me about it, I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great if a realtor could get involved? And they contacted me, the producers, and said, We're looking to explore some of the real estate avenues on the peninsula. Would you be interested? And the answer was, yeah, I'd be delighted. So it was pretty exciting that way. Being in front of a camera, unless you do it on a regular basis, is a little bit nerve-wracking. They don't do multiple shots like maybe in a Hollywood movie where you see take 27 or something like that. They might redo one or two things, but basically there's 5 camera people, a director, you've got a microphone attached under your clothes, and they're recording every word you say and watching every movement you make. So it's really a little bit more dissettling than you might think, but you try to act natural, and after the first few hours goes by under this type of attention, you start to get used to it, and it does become rather fun.
You're going to be in the inaugural program, which will actually air prior to this podcast going out. But talk about what people are going to see in that program, and maybe where you think this type of programming or where you think this particular show will go.
The show comes out this Sunday. This type of programming really captures a few different elements of Alaska that people are drawn to. Adventurism, kind of that I'm going to get away from the big cities, and so they want to harness and encapsulate that message of what it's like to be in a remote area in Alaska. And so the show episodes were really more geared towards getting away from it all more than mainstream living. As you and I know, Alaskans, we have grocery stores and we have gas stations, and we really don't live in the remote bush country all the time. But the rest of the country, I think, is fascinated by Alaska, and this show does capture some of that fascination. So it was interesting to see what they wanted. As a quick aside, there were 3 really beautiful log custom homes that I had selected that were probably in the range of about, on average, $600,000 to $800,000. And the day before the shooting began, the executive producer called from the network and said, we're really not interested in capturing that quality of home. Do you have anything without any running water or with no electricity?
Oh,
so
man.
You can imagine the change of events.
Yeah. You haven't seen the edited version, of course, but in the end, do you feel like Alaska is going to be put best foot forward in this? And I guess the other aspect of that question is, who's the star? Is it the buyer? Is it the realtor? Is it Alaska or real estate?
Good question. Well, first of all, I wasn't the star. I think Alaska was showcased well. Buyers get a lot of attention through the process. Ideally, the producers wanted to capture the game show environment where, which property will they select. And so they try to make it an interesting show from that standpoint, but I felt that they really did a good job from at least the process, and you're right, I haven't seen the show, but I think that Alaska is going to stand head and shoulders above any of the people on the show, because they did get some fantastic footage of people fishing, catching, the Kenai River, the beautiful turquoise water, some mountain scenes. So it'd be hard to be thinking, even with my ego, that I would upstage that.
How can Alaska lose, I guess? In this case, it sounds to me like this is almost a Chamber of Commerce getting a one massive shot in the arm for nothing.
I got to tell you, the fact that the producers had even called back, I've been in touch with them since, asking for other show ideas. They have made it very clear that the lower 48 and the rest of the world is very interested in Alaska, very interested in what it's like to live, work, play here. And frankly, whether it be Chamber of Commerce or Alaska Travel Tourism Association or the Kenai Peninsula Marketing Tourism Council, all of those bodies and all of us as residents, I think will benefit from positive exposure. They did film 10 episodes just on the Kenai Peninsula, so that's pretty refreshing.
One other question, would you do this again?
I would do this again. It was nerve-wracking, but it was fun, and I really enjoyed working with the crew. Even had them over for dinner at my house, and just was interesting process, that's for sure, in a heartbeat.
All right. Thank you so much, Ross. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see your episode.
All right. Take care. Thanks so much, Chris.
If I don't do anything else today, I'm gonna take a walk up by the creek and have him sing his song to me.
Kelly Keating, Griebel, talk to me about being on Buying Alaska. How did you get involved in this program, and what can we expect to see from you on television?
Okay. Well, one of the producers had been in contact with Ross Baxter here from Freedom Realty, and apparently they were needing some more people to take part in a few of the episodes, various roles. We were one of the couples that interviewed with the New York office there via Skype, and we were chosen to be in one of the episodes.
Well, that's awesome. Now, you and your husband.
Yes, his name's Scott.
And so you look around at what with Ross? Ross is the realtor, and you're looking around for what, cabins, or what was the deal?
We are looking for like a weekend getaway, kind of roughing it, Kenai River style, just place to get away from it all.
Cool. Now, have you had any background in working in front of a camera or taking direction on what to do?
You know what? I was just pretty natural about it. I've been involved in real estate for 12 years now and see how all the buying goes and how people react, and it was fun. I actually felt like I was going to buy something. Made me want to spend some money.
Yeah, yeah. And the idea, I guess, is that people are going to see this from all around the country, and we're showcasing Alaska. Alaska is being like exposed to the world of what is available to purchase, invest in, and what our lifestyle's like. Yes.
I really think it's going to spike curiosity of some folks. Just get them to maybe come visit us or pick up a second home here. I mean, there's been in the past several years, there's been a lot of interest in Alaska.
Yeah, it seems like
I think that's a great thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And now we're kind of focusing more on some communities, and especially the Kenai Peninsula area. I love it. I've lived here for almost 42 years.
Yeah. No, it's a very special place to live, and I think the more that gets out to, believe it or not, and you probably have experienced this yourself, there's still a huge misconception about what we have in the way of utilities or roads or services up here.
That's true. Most of us live just like anybody else, but I'll tell you what, these 3 places we went to look at, some of them did not have anything. It was really roughing it. So
yeah, which will be hard for people to fathom, I guess, but that's part of the allure as well.
It is. It's really going to bring some attention.
I was talking to Scott Connelly earlier, and he's on the program as well, and he was saying that one of the draws he sees bringing so much attention to Alaska is the freedom that we have here.
Oh, yeah. And just being able to step outside your front door and you don't see a soul. The only thing you have to worry about is an occasional bear, which we did find bear scat when we were visiting on Dow Island, one of the properties.
Ooh, nice. I pictured that got a close-up.
Oh, my gosh. The whole crew was just begging to see a bear, but unfortunately we didn't get to see one face-to-face.
Well, that's unfortunately and fortunately probably in some respects.
True. We did have our bear spray, though. Pepper spray, guns. We were loaded up.
Well, what was it like, I guess, just sort of putting yourself in the mindset of the buyer? You said you've been working in real estate 12 years. I mean, you know what they go through and what the process is, but describe some of that, the feelings. And did you have to coach your husband, or how did that go?
Oh, no. He was great. I think he's a natural. after the show, we were kind of in the buying mood. We were just checking out these places and giving our honest feedback and opinions, and it was so much fun. It was really amazing to see how much work really goes into shooting a 30-minute TV program. I mean, we had 5 guys on our crew, and they were shooting from all different angles. We'd have to go back and redo and walk through again, and this was all over a 3-day period. So probably the most shocking thing was I quickly learned I would have to be wearing the same clothes for all 3 days of shooting. So I wasn't too excited about that.
That just entered my mind when you said 3 days of shooting one show. It's like, yeah, that's a good point. You really would have to be looking like it's the same day repeatedly.
Exactly.
Oh,
and, it's raining. We're out on the boat on the Kenai River. So it wasn't my best side.
Would you do it again?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yeah?
It was an incredible opportunity, and I was happy to be a part of it any way I could.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Chris.
Erick Watkins, how did you get involved with the program Buying Alaska? Did they approach you, or did you hear about it and make contact with the production company? How did you get introduced to them?
Yeah, it was funny. Actually, they called on my cell phone, and it was that one rare chance when there was a number that, from out of state that I didn't recognize, and I had time to answer it, and I did. And she said who she was and said, wow, I'm surprised you answered your phone. We haven't been able to get too many people to answer their phone. And I said, what are you looking for? And she said, well, we're looking for some beachfront properties, and we're calling on your listing. We wanted to know if you would be willing to, be on a show, on a TV show. Went into the details of it, and I said, wow, that's really outside my comfort zone. Never done that before, but would love to definitely give it a shot. And it was just quick, hey, are you interested or not? And I said, yeah, let's do it. That'd be fun. And this property I was so excited about, and that was their main focus. And then as things progressed, their goal went from trying to show people basically the lower 48 market, these really expensive high-end homes that most people would never be able to afford anyway. It'd be something you'd see on Wealth TV maybe, but not the average, working couple raising family. And so they changed their direction with our conversation, and it immediately went to wanting to work with some sled dog properties. And, up here in our area, we have a lot of sled dog owner-operators of teams that compete in, the Testamina and the Iditarod, and a lot of history there. So, but at first, when you get that phone call from a buyer wanting to look at sled dog properties as a realtor, you're thinking, oh, man, where am I going to start showing them properties? Because you can't bring a sled dog team into a lot of Alaska's residential neighborhoods. First of all, the covenants don't allow it. And that's the main reason. Plus, they're loud. They need some acreage out of town, and so that was a challenge of where to find out of town properties. Yet they could still be close enough to commute.
So they put that challenge right back on you, the realtor, then, Eric, to go out and find properties that are suitable for the demand of the program. That they switched from the waterfront to sled dogs. All of a sudden now it's your job to go out and find the suitable properties to show people and to showcase on the program. Right.
And then, not all owners of properties wanted their property to be on a TV show. So there was, there was some permission slips that had to be submitted. And some people actually said, hey, I don't have time for this. I don't want to have anything to do with this. I don't want my house to be on some TV show. Other people were excited. They thought, well, that'd be, hey, if that's what you guys want to do, go for it. It's a great property. And so we had to exhaust, everything from what is on the realtor database, what's on the Flex, what do we have access to that's listed with realtor first, and after that we had to start looking at, well, this is available, this is another property on Craigslist, or this is a for sale by owner, and then trying to track those people down and trying to send, approval slips and all that as we're moving forward, representing the buyer, trying to find them a property. Some of these, we don't know a lot about, and the sellers are hard to locate and get information from. So it was a lot of challenging. Plus, it's the middle of summer and everybody's fishing, and the salmon are hitting like crazy, and there's a million things going on. Trying to juggle all that it's pretty exciting.
Well, you said early out here that it was outside your comfort zone. Did at some point you become comfortable, Erick, during the filming? Did it become sort of second nature, or did you just act natural, as others have said, and just, well, it just did my job?
Yeah, you act natural and do your job, and you're trying to ignore the fact that there's 33 cameras, 3 cameras in your face and over your steering wheels, and they've got little cameras on the wheels of your tires and the mud flaps at all different angles as you're pulling into properties. And I cannot imagine how this is going to look, but I know they had cameras everywhere, microphones everywhere, and they're looking for that genuine conversation that the realtor professional has with the buyers and or sellers, depending on the situation. So some of it was outside your comfort zone at first, but then as you start ignoring the film in your face and, hey, you got to stop and then go into a room and turn around and come through with opening the door, going into the room so you can see that view. But after a while, you get past that, and it was just some, trying to relax and get back to your real self, where you're, having your charisma, your sense of humor, your interaction with your buyers, and little jokes about things. Where's the bathroom? Well, it's outside in the outhouse, and you're trying to, be real. But at the same time, you're kind of guarded at first, I think. And I think it's always good to push yourself outside your comfort zones and try to, always do something maybe you're a little bit nerve-wracked about. It's definitely different, and I'll do it again. And I would say if anybody else was sitting on the fence for that brief second that I was as well, take the plunge and go for it, and just see where it goes. It was a great opportunity to really portray to a lot of folks, what Alaska is, part of Alaska, not all of it. We were just one little tiny segment, but, part of what Alaska has to offer. And there's just a lot of people that have dreamed their whole life of moving up here, buying some property, and following their dreams. And I hope this show has a little bit of impetus to push them over to follow their dreams and come up here and invest in real estate and buy a cabin, buy a house, buy a lodge.
All right. Thanks, Erick Watkins. Appreciate it.
You bet, Chris.
The blue of the sea, the evening sky, the mountain lakes, and the flowers nearby.
Jenny Chissus, so talk to me about Buying Alaska. What was your experience like, and what do you think about the program?
Well, I think it was an awesome opportunity to showcase our Alaska homes and our Alaska lifestyle. I think it was a very personal way to kind of reach into the actual, what we actually do, how we actually live, and not just the fanciest houses or the smallest cabins, but a little bit of everything. And I think that's something that most people don't see. And so I think that that's a really exciting part about the show, to actually get a glimpse into our life here. Alaska has an interesting reputation from all the different shows that have come out on reality TV, and some of them are somewhat true to form, but like I said, I haven't seen the final cut, so we'll see what it looks like when they bring it all together. But I thought that was a really nice touch that it just steps into our natural lifestyle here.
So you've never done anything like this before, I take it, right?
No, I have not.
So what's it like then? Now all of a sudden you're thrust in front of 4 or 5 crew members and in front of cameras and doing take 1, take 2. I mean, what is that like, going from you're a realtor doing your job to now you're a TV star?
Well, I don't know about the star part, Chris, but it was as much as they told me, just act normal, do what you normally do. I didn't find that to be really very easy to do in this situation because the light was a certain way, or you were turning a certain way, and you needed to look a different direction in order for the camera to get you. But many times there were 3 cameras on you, so it could be a little disconcerting, especially day 1. By day 3, it was quite a bit different. But it was. I think that the focus really wasn't on me. The focus is on the properties, and I'm sure that they did a wonderful job of showcasing those homes. I mean, had great subjects to work with, so that was a lot of fun.
Now, having gone through this, and again, you just said you don't know what the editing is going to look like, but in the end, the experience, and you enjoyed it. Is this something, A, would you do it again, and B, would you recommend it to other realtors if they were approached?
Oh, I certainly would. It was a lot of fun. I mean, obviously every crew is going to be different, but I found that Real Route Productions, they were awesome. They were just genuine guys and happy, to work with us, even with our inexperience and having to do take 2, take 3, just because for whatever reason, we're certainly not professionals, and they made us feel very comfortable, and I certainly would recommend it to someone who wants to take the opportunity to showcase their area. I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for me as a broker to showcase the properties in my location. It's just an amazing opportunity. Couldn't pay for that. So, like I said, I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure it's going to be amazing, and just the fact that we were on there is a great, great exposure for a little town like Seldovia. I'm thrilled about that, because I think that's one of the things that I struggle with as a realtor, is just letting people know that we're here. If people get as far as Seldovia, they don't have any problem finding me. Jenny Chissus and Seldovia property is everywhere. So that's really never been my issue. But getting people who say, you know what, Alaska, I'm really interested in Alaska. I'd like to go out and go fishing. I'd like to go, have a little cabin and hang out in the woods and, pee in my backyard. Just somewhere be away from lights and action, and just get out into the Alaska lifestyle.
All right, Jenny, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Can't wait until your episode airs in November, and we'll keep an eye out there on Destination America for Buying Alaska.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Stay tuned to Alaska Real Estate for continued updates on Buying Alaska. Today's podcast made possible in part thanks to the support of Alaska USA Mortgage Company, a name you know and people you trust. Online at alaskausamortgage.com. Sandy Ehrenman's your executive producer. For all of us at Alaska Real Estate, I'm Chris Story, wishing you health, wealth, and prosperity.